I wonder if we have ever asked to ourselves what is the meaning, what is the significance of education. This is the question which is not asked by me. This is the question that was asked by Krishnamurti in this famous and renowned book, Think on These Things. In the very first chapter, Krishnamurti talked about the function of education. And in that topic, in that essay, or you can say, or in his talk, in the beginning, he asked us question which I have said in the beginning of this video, that if you have ever asked yourself what is the meaning of education, what is the significance of education, or what is education for? And this question is not only for the students who are learning. This question is also for the parents who is sending their children and spending a big chunk of money, especially in our country. They spend a lot of money on education, whether you are born from a poor family or middle class family. Each class of family in our country gave a lot of money for their children to the education department. So it is quite an important to ask ourselves that what is the significance of this education. And J.D. Krishnamurti further goes on that this question also applies on those persons, those educators who are involved in this business. So this question that what is the significance of education, what is the ultimate purpose of education, becomes significance for all these three classes of people, whether it is a student or parents or educator or teacher. So J.D. Krishnamurti further in this the first essay he talked about, as you can see from there, or I can use a photo on the screen if it could be possible. Then in the beginning he talked about that if what most of the people think, what I was thinking, and what in any ordinary student could think about whenever you ask him or her about what is the significance of education. He simply answers that we educate ourselves just to earn a livelihood. We are just, for example, a middle class family what thinks that a boy who is in middle class family might get a government job or any private job with a great package, and then he started his own family by marriage and all other things that I think is redundant to say. So the purpose of education in our country, and I think in the entire world, the way education is put forward is that you need to educate yourself in order to make a livelihood. Since you are uneducated, so you can also be earn a livelihood, but that the category of job that you will receive will be of far low quality, because of a labor who works 8 hours or 9 hours or 10 hours a day can earn up to 500 rupees or 600 rupees a day, but a surgeon who just do a 1 hour operation can charge up to 5 lakh 10 lakh rupees, and people will give to them. Why? Because they are educated, they are particularly special in a particular field, so people are paying for that skill. And our entire education system is to make yourself better at that one skill. So J. Krishnamurti further talks in this essay, in this talk of the function of education. He said that we have made education for only one thing. We have made education for the one thing, that is we have concentrated ourselves, we have made our belief narrow on this only one thing. And he said that isn't the significance of education is to look at the possibilities of life, this extraordinary life that we have given from the nature. And further he talks about that we are creating people's mechanical. We are not building humans. What are humans for? What are the possibilities of humans? Art, literature, philosophy, psychology. I mean, this is not only that people, I think that nowadays on Instagram it is quite aesthetic things to read books like The Fountainhead or the Brothers Karamazov and Crime and Punishment and Anna Karenina and War and Peace by Tolstoy. People are philosophizing it, or you can say people putting it in order to flex themselves that I'm also in this group. But to understand life, what this life is for, I believe that this life is accidentally a life which we have to live. I'm not going to the absurdism of Albert Camus, but this life we have given is of utmost importance. You might ask that why it is utmost of importance? Because if you look at all around, whether it is insects or mosquitoes or mammals or birds or animals or cow or any other things, I'm talking about living things. They didn't have consciousness. They cannot think for themselves. But we humans, we can think of themselves. I was just a couple of minutes ago, I was reading today's newspaper, Hindustan newspaper, which came in Bihar, So in that newspaper, there is a great article I have received. The article says the process of going from humans is to being a thinking animal. He largely talk about that. What is the scientific name of human being? Homo sapiens. What does that mean? Homo sapiens. Sapiens who is thinking. Who our scientific name tells us that we are different from those the rest of the biodiversical things, rest of the organisms, mammals and kids and insects. That we can think for ourselves, we can think for others, we can cooperate in groups, as Yuval Noah Harari points in his renowned book Sapiens, that since we can cooperate on a large number, since we can live and cooperate on large numbers in order to base a common ideas, therefore we have made such a great progress. And all of this basis lies in one thing, that we can think for ourselves, we can contemplate, we can ponder. So I believe I will tell you what J. Krishnamurti told us, the purpose of education, the significance of education. But before going to that, let me tell you that what I believe the education for is to make a man think for himself, for the society, for his own purpose, for his own life, to look at his life, to look at the world, to understand the relationship between one with the world and one with self, which one has, and which is not quite good in the world today right now. Because if you look at the wars and pollution, poverty, and all those things, corruption. So what I believe is that the significance of education should be is to make people think for themselves. And it is, I think, since people do not think for themselves, therefore the things people are in India, or in especially in northern India, people are obsessed with government jobs, because they do not think for themselves. They want security. As I've said, as Acharya Prasad said, that where there is security, there will be no creativity at all. And that is why India is considered as among the least creative people in the world. And that's why the coaching industry in India is booming. The coaching mafia. You cannot find it in Germany, in any European countries, or Denmark, or Finland, or Norway, United States of America, or in Canada, or in Germany, or in France. You do not find any coaching mafia. No, not even in China, not in Pakistan. But in India only you can find the coaching mafia, because Indians, especially North Indians, more or less obsessed with government jobs. And so they are thinking for security. They are thinking that, okay, I'm going to pass this exam, and then my whole life becomes secure. I got a big chunk of dowry in my from my bride's father, and then I will live my life a better place because I have a security. I will have to work as much less as possible, and I will be secured for my entire life. My family will be secured. So I'm not going into that. In this article, in the talk, J. Krishnamurti further talked that the purpose of education is not to imitate what most of the people do. And you can say, and I have just said the examples of government job. Government job is also an imitation. Why people think of government job? Because they look at their senior, they look at the senior citizens, they look at their parents, that they are in the government job, they have a secure life. They look at their elder brothers, they are in government job, they have a secure place to live. They have a security, they have a fixed amount of money, and which is quite a good amount of money if you think of in that terms. So people look at their elders, people look at the older people, and they think that they have their best life due to government jobs. So I have to get a government job in order to live this life. And there is a famous quote that when people are free to do as they please, they usually imitate each others. So J. Krishnamurti targets on this idea that the purpose, the significance of education is not to imitate but to discover, and that is what education is. And he further talks about the idea of intelligence. What is intelligence? He said that we are also stick to this idea of conformity, to imitation, is because we are frightened, isn't it, sir? We are frightened, that's why we copy. If you go to a place, just for example, if you are put into some place and you don't know what to do, then it is possible that you imitate somebody else, because you don't know what to do. You don't want to think for yourself. And this is quite seen in our country, in North India, especially in UP, Bihar. People are targeting UPSC. Why? They didn't think for themselves. They only look at the advertisements that was propagated by the propaganda of coaching mafia, that if you become an IS or IPS, then your life will be great, then you will be at a better place. But they didn't think that this is their hidden agenda, this is their cabal, that is their making those students, they are plundering them, they are exploiting their resources, and they are also ruining their lives for 2 or 3 years, and the increasing number of attempts. And that is what I have just talked about, that people are going towards to becoming an IAS or IPS officer. Why? Because they didn't think for themselves, they didn't look at their own abilities. And in this book, the famously J. Krishnamurti said that, just hold me, look what he said. He said that living safety generally means living in limitation and therefore in fear. We want to live in security. We want to live in without any chaos, without any conflict. So we follow tradition, we follow order, we follow the rules of society, and we don't want to be a rebel, because society did not like rebels. So in the end, the J. Krishnamurti says that the function of education surely is to eradicate inwardly as well as outwardly this fear that destroys human thought, human relationship, and love. And because he always emphasized on love, because he said that freedom, if you call it, or salvation, or moksha in Hindi, in Sanatan Dharma, whatever you call it, this thing is only possible when there is love. Without love, there is nothing possible. So if I could summarize this entire video, of this long video, is that the function of education is to make you think, and the work of teacher or educator or parents is to make your children learn that how to think, not what to think. It is also J. Krishnamurti told in this talk on the function of education. He said that the idea of education should be to tell children how to think, not what to think. They will think whatever they want to be. You cannot constrain or restrain somebody to think in this particular spectrum. So the function of education is to think for oneself, and it is how to think that can be only known if you will meet a person like J. Krishnamurti, if you read him, J. Krishnamurti, like this book, this beautiful book of J. Krishnamurti, Think on These Things. So just think for yourself. What shall I say much further than that? And in the end, I would say, if you do not think for yourself, then anyone else or any other person will think for you, and that is not good. That is always going to be detrimental for you. So think for yourself.